everyone, my name is Danyawan Medhawisan. My nickname is Mind, and for today's presentation, I will be introducing you my topic and my sustained investigation for AP Art and Design portfolio. So my sustained investigation concerns how emphasizing the scale between backgrounds and figures can change the perspective of how we view things and relationships between them. I want to explore how changing certain scales and perspective can create a different tone for each artwork. I chose this topic because I want to practice how I draw and color backgrounds, and I want to learn how I can convey a story without letting the words do all the talking, and I want it to be more of a visual relationship between the pictures instead. Perspective is everything when conveying a story. I had learned how to phrase scale and size in a way that can express different perspectives and emotions. So now I'll be introducing 5 selected works that I've chose for my AP portfolio for this exhibition. So the first artwork I chose for this is this one. And I decided to choose this work for one of my exhibitions because this work I feel is one of my favorites, and I also like the idea that I used to create this illustration. This work aspires to create a sense of freedom and a feeling of serenity in nature, and I think I conveyed that pretty well. The materials I used is digital art, and I used a variety of different brushes, and it helps me with emphasizing different light sources and also the texture in the grass. My second artwork is this one. The idea behind this illustration is to illustrate a tone of both ethereal and mystery around the drawing. I want to bring up the question of who this person is. Does the figure have any connections with the background? I really quite like this one because this illustration shows both depth and contrast with the water and the environment surrounding it, and it creates a layer of contrast with the effects I added to further illustrate the depth shown in this artwork. And my third selected artwork is this piece. I really like the idea behind this artwork. I choose to illustrate this picture to illustrate the perspective of something that can be seen from the surface but has a deeper meaning to it. And you can see clearly by this picture that you can see something from the surface, but if you look deeper, there is some weird structure underneath it, and you can see the details of the structure. And again, that brings up the question of, where is this taking place? Why is this place flooded? This artwork is actually quite hard for me to illustrate. I start by illustrating the structure itself first, and then I slowly build up by shading and creating the drop while distorting the structure in the rendering process. My fourth image is this image. For this piece, I use a combination of layering and digital art, which helps me emphasize the texture of the cryptid, how smooth she is, and also it helps me with detailing with the background. Using different types of lighting and brushes helps me create a different feel for each tone of artwork I'm going for. This one, I want it to be very mysterious and dark, but also light at the same time, illuminating the creature so you can see what she's looking at. This image by far is my most experimental one. I started out by blocking the shapes first, which helps lays a strong foundation for adding further details to the environment. I normally don't draw or color looking from the bigger perspective. I go in with flat color first, but with this one I have to shade in and block in the lights and the shadows and the midtones. I don't start with the midtones first and then build from there. I go backwards, which this is why I included it in my 5 selected works, because I use a different type of technique. The idea behind this illustration is to create an environment that sparks whimsical curiosity to the viewer. And for the materials, I use a variety of textured brushes to help me illustrate the different textures and add detail to the background. And with playing around with different lighting and effects uses in digital art, it helps me play around with feels and tones for different illustrations. That's why I decided to choose digital art for most of my illustrations, because it's more flexible as opposed to traditional art itself. And that is it for my presentation. I hope you enjoy the artworks, and thank you!